Hello and welcome to The Real Deal. Now, if there's one thing recent years have taught us, it's that the Scandinavians love a bit of tense, gritty action. And the coming-of-age story Northwest, set in the slums of Copenhagen, is no different. Here's a clip.
So the slums of Copenhagen, not the most standard of filming locations that we know of. But is it a standard story, Joe? What's it all about?
It is a story that we've heard a million times before, basically. It's about a guy called Caspar, who's a low-level burglar who progresses up the criminal ladder, meets proper gangsters. It goes pretty well for a while. And then ultimately, what do you know, it all goes a bit belly up. Sound familiar?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was actually just going to say that, thanks.
Yeah, that's about it, but let's find out a bit more.
Okay, so it doesn't sound like the most exciting of storylines. However, is it good?
Well, do you know what? I like a gangster film.
Yeah.
But Goodfellas, it ain't. That being said, it is an interesting story. As I sort of said in the intro, the Scandinavian sort of gritty realism, that's all there. And it does feel, it's all sort of shot handheld, it feels very realistic.
Very Dogme 95.
Yeah, well, I mean, not quite that.
Okay.
But,
Lars von Trier, I don't know, isn't he Scandinavian or something like that? He's Danish, he's Danish, sorry.
Yeah, his very unique stamp isn't on this film.
No, okay.
And it's an interesting story because I don't know much about that part of the world. I certainly don't know much about the social deprivation there. But it becomes very clear after a while, hey, these guys are poor, they've turned to crime to support their family. Oh wait, here's a big gangster who's going to give him a chance to make a bit more money. Let's go for it, that looks good. Oh no, wait, it isn't. But I quite liked it. There's something interesting at the heart as well because it's the story of two brothers. In the film, it's Caspar and Andy. And I'm really nervous about this. Caspar is played by Gustav and Andy's played by Oscar Geiser. I think I'm saying their names correctly.
And they're brothers in real life.
They're bros in real life and bros in real life and in the movie as well.
Okay.
And it's about their progression and journey together sort of through the criminal underworld. That being said, it does feel like quite a localised sort of parochial film. But it is worth watching if you don't know sort of much about the side of Scandinavia that maybe we don't see on the telly.
But why should we be bothered?
Why should you be bothered? That is a good question.
Why do I want to know about Scandinavia?
No, do you know what? It's an interesting story, but as I say, it's a story that's been done plenty of times before. One thing I will say, it has a great ending.
Okay.
A really great, unexpected ending. It's got a very long, protracted, very tense scene of sort of escape and a completely open ending where I still don't know what happened.
Oh, that's a bit Coen Brothers. Is it a bit pretentious?
It works.
Oh, okay.
Because I was sitting there afterwards as the credits rolled and thought, no, that worked. And that is kind of interesting. And it's weird because it's like, okay, we've been doing this film. It's just a bit like kidulthood, isn't it? But we're in Denmark, and let's just do something else with it quickly. And it's like they really turned it on for the ending. So that it's worth watching just for that. That's a different spin.
Okay, so you quite like this film. But what are the bad points?
The bad points are it's a story that's been told a million times before in the English language. I don't know enough about Scandinavian cinema to know whether this is something that Danish audiences will be just as familiar with.
Yeah.
I found it kind of hard as an Englishman to get on board with a badass gangster called Björn. That just made me laugh every time. Oh no, Björn's coming. I was like, and Björn's sort of got a little bloke with a beard. I thought it's not really De Niro in Casino, is it?
No, not quite.
So maybe it's something that doesn't translate necessarily very well. It is a very familiar story, as I said, and it doesn't really even attempt to do anything vaguely new. And I think while it's entertaining, it's completely forgettable, which is always a surprise because we think when foreign films...
It's a shame, isn't it?
Well, when foreign films end up here, we think, well, there must be a reason. It must be really good. And it's not. It's just a story that's been told very many times.
Too many times.
In the English language, and to be honest, by Martin Scorsese a lot better on a few occasions.
Fair enough. Okay, so you've given us the good and the bad of Northwest, but these people at home, like, it's on both cinematic and DVD release as well. So should you get it, go and watch it in the cinema? Should you go and just leave it for DVD or whatever other home entertainment formats you want to watch it on?
Yeah.
What is the real deal and your star rating?
Let's face it, if you're going down the cinema, go and watch the Monkey movie. That's what you're doing, isn't it? You've got to have exhausted all options before you get to Danish gangster thriller. But that being said, definitely worth a watch at home. It's not a bad movie, I certainly enjoyed it, but it's not like, oh, I can't wait to watch Northwest again. It's not really that. Probably worth watching just for Björn, the little gangster gnome.
I am so intrigued.
He's quite funny, he's like Mr. Tumnus from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, except, as I say,
I've got a really, really weird image in my head right now.
It's probably about accurate. But it's a story that's been done before. Worth it on a Friday night in if you've not got much else to watch. 3 stars.
Har du glemt, hvem du arbejder for? Og jeg arbejder ikke for dig mere.
So that is the intriguing real review of Northwest, as in the film is intriguing, not your review.
Yes.
But what do you guys think? If you go and check it out, do let us know on Twitter. You can tweet us at The Real Film Show or leave us a comment on our brand new website, therealdealonfilm.com. Unfortunately, we don't have a telephone number that we can that we can get you to contact us with, but by all means, get us on all social media platforms. Thanks for watching. Joe will leave you his number for Tinder later.